Okay, so hi everyone. In this video, we are going to learn how to do cluster analysis, and we are also going to learn how to interpret the results of cluster analysis, right? So, in this particular problem, this uh, problem in shopping, it has been done in class already. In our class, I am a PGDM student, and I am going to uh, redo this entire problem, right? And the codes, the Python codes for the same has been already done. You can check on the screen. So what are we doing basically? Let's see first. So we have an Excel file named shopping. Okay, see, this is the file, and we can see certain rows and columns in this file. In the columns, we have first of all case number. These case numbers are nothing but the people who have taken this survey. Okay, this particular Excel sheet consists of the survey results, and the survey is regarding the shopping preferences of people, right? They have been asked certain questions regarding whether shopping is fun or not, like then do you enjoy shopping, and all these kind of questions. And these V1, V2, V3 consist of each of such questions. I have the list of questions. Let me note it down. So, for example, here it is written that for V1, shopping is fun. Okay. So the questionnaire was in a Likert scale, where the question was first question was shopping is fun. Now, if a particular survey taker thinks that shopping is fun, then he will rate, he will hit 5 or 6 out of 5 or 6 in this Likert scale. And if he doesn't agree with this statement, then he will mark it as 1 or 2, right? So this is how it works. So V1 is shopping is fun. Similarly, V2 is shopping is bad for budget. V3 is I combine shopping with eating out. V4, I try to get the best buys when shopping. I don't care about shopping. You can save a lot of money by comparing prices. So these are our questions, and we have a number of people, like 20 people, answering each of the questions on a Likert scale from 1 to 6. Now we are going to find out through cluster analysis. Basically, we are going to make certain number of clusters of these people based on their answers, right? So let's see the code. Let's go to the code. So first of all, we imported pandas. Then we checked out the first 5 heads of the data set. Then we saw the kind of data which is included in the data set. Then we created the we created a different data frame called selected columns df, on which we want to do cluster analysis. Like in our case, we had columns named v1 to v6, right? See, here we had columns from v1, v2, v3, v4, v5, and v6, and that's how we made these columns. We selected these columns because we want to cluster the people on the basis of these metrics, right? Next, we uh, try to see the heads of the selected column. Then this code is just for ignoring the certain type of warning that Python gives while doing cluster analysis. Then this code is important because here we are selecting the k value, right? And how we are doing it? We are doing it through a method called sum of squared errors. Now, if we try to do it in a theoretically by using calculation, then our teacher has taught a method called mm, I'm forgetting the name of the method right now, but it involves calculating the distance from the points to the clusters, right? So, for example, we have a bunch of data and we divide them into certain clusters, let's say two clusters, and then we randomly select one of the point as centroid. Now, centroid will be the mean of all the clusters. Now we have to calculate the difference of the each of the points from that centroid point. And if we and the more closer we come to zero, right? The more closer we come to zero, we will establish that the number of clusters we have made is correct. Now, if you look at it that way, then we will see that let's say we have in this case we had 20 cases, right? 20 people we had surveyed. In that case, we can make 20 clusters if we go by that rule. Like the more number of clusters we make, the more number of the sum of squared errors become less and less, right? So if we follow that rule, then we can make 20 clusters, but that is not efficient, right? So we try to uh, make the number of clusters in a way such that it is efficient, and for that we use this code. Okay, and in this code we have used SSE method, sum of squared error, which is also called elbow plot, which involves plotting each of the points, obtained points in an elbow like, and giving the map in elbow like structure. And where you see the elbow is where you see this particular map is getting an elbow structure like we have in our hand, that point we consider as k value, right? Now k is basically the number of clusters, okay, that we are going to do in our analysis. So it makes sense to, you see, here we are getting the elbow structure in k equals to 3. So we will take k equals to 3. So from this code we obtain the k value. Then in the next code we use that k uh, we use that k to create clusters, okay, in this code. And you can see that in the model it has already given us that the first person belongs to cluster 1. It has already done the cluster analysis, but we cannot observe from this metric, right? From here we can, it is very difficult to observe. That is why we try to import this result in a Excel file. So we before importing into the Excel file, we assign cluster ID into each of the data sets, which the cluster ID it has already generated. We just create an additional column and assign the cluster ID next to the particular data set. Then we, in this case, we have just printed this whatever is going to be there in our Excel sheet, imported Excel sheet. We have just printed a copy of that, and then we have printed our results, like cluster analysis result. This is called, right? Sorry, not result. This is called cluster profile. On the basis of this cluster profile, we are going to make our final interpretation. And finally, we import our results in the Excel sheet. And once I run this code, last code, it will create two files named shopping results and shopping cluster profile. So let's check it out. Sorry. See, here I have two files, shopping cluster profile and shopping results. So let's open both of them. Now I have obtained the results from the code, and the code was giving me two Excel files, and I have combined the results into one single sheet, into one single file. Sheet one consists of the the original file. Just this cluster ID is added, which tells us in which cluster this particular survey taker falls. For example, this survey taker number one falls in cluster ID 1. Okay, and for your information, we have made three clusters, cluster number 0, 1, and 2. Okay, that being said, let's proceed into the interpretation. So first of all, what we do is we select this entire cluster profile and we transpose this, right? We copy, Control Alt V, and here is transpose. You take this checkbox and it gets transposed. Now the second thing you do is you uh, select the results of the cluster of this thing, and then you do conditional formatting. You go to color scale and you select the first option. Now it has made our life easier, right? You can see that based on these metrics, whatever is here, right? These are actually the results. Sorry, these are actually the mean of this the cluster, and you can see that in case of, let's say, in case of cluster 0, we have V2 element in green, and we have V4 element in green, we have V6 element in green, and here is the metrics. For example, V2 means that shopping is bad for budget. Now, what it means is that out of all the people in cluster 0, this V2 element is very high. Okay, that means most of the people in cluster 0 thinks that shopping is bad for budget, and they also think that they can try to get the best buy when shopping. Okay, these people in cluster 0, they try to get the best buys when shopping, and they also think they can save a lot of money by comparing prices. So this is the interpretation that we can obtain from the cluster 0. Let's write it down somewhere. As I said, V2 element is very high, 5.84 around, which means that they think, okay, so let me write this entire thing. People in cluster 0 think that shopping is bad for budget, right? They also think that they can get the best bites. They try to get the best bite when shopping. They try to get the best buy when shopping, and they think they can save a lot of money by comparing prices. They think they can save a lot of money by comparing prices. Cluster 1. Now, cluster 1, in cluster 1, uh, V1 element is very high, which means that they find shopping is fun. People in cluster 0 think that shopping is fun. Then V3, they combine shopping with eating out. They combine shopping with eating out. And okay, so these are the only two metrics, sorry, indices that are high in cluster 1. Coming to cluster 2, only V5 element is high, and V5 element is I don't care about shopping. So people in cluster 2 do not care about shopping. They don't care about shopping. Now, based on these observations, you can name these particular clusters. For example, people in cluster 0 think that shopping is bad for budget. They try to get the best buy, and they think they can save a lot of money. So these people are basically very price conscious, right? So you can name cluster 0 as price conscious people. Similarly, for cluster 1, what matters? They think shopping is fun. They combine shopping with eating out. Okay. So it is evident that they spend, these kind of people in cluster 1 spend a lot of money while shopping. So we can, what can we call them? These are basically, they can be perfect target for any kind of, let's say, advertising or any kind of introducing any new product. They are the target audience. And people in cluster 2, they don't care about shopping, so we can name them like indifferent. Okay, so this is how you do cluster analysis. Once you try to ascertain the need for this cluster analysis, like how can we apply them in real world, then things become very easy, right? Why do we do cluster analysis? What do we further do with this result as a manager, right? So we can use this observation into further refining our products, right? For as a manager of the shopping mall, let's say for cluster 0, they are price conscious. So in order to attract more cluster 0 people, what we can do is we can take care of the budget, right? We can try to work on, unit pricing. We can try to reduce the cost, and so on and so forth, in order to attract cluster 0 people. For cluster 1, what we can do is, since they, you know, combine shopping with eating out, we can focus on uh, establishing more restaurants inside the shopping mall, right? This will uh, enhance their spending. And for cluster 2, we can try to further dig up the reasons why they don't care about shopping, right? For that, we have to further do other researches, right? So in this way, we can use cluster analysis as we saw. And one more thing before I close the video is that there is a case. See, in this case, we had uh, all the all these metrics, right? All these metrics in similar units. Like for example, from a scale of 1 to 6, we had all these metrics. Now, in some cases, we might find these metrics are different. For example, in one column, we might have the information about people's salary, and in another column, we might have their age, right? So in order to do cluster analysis on these two metrics, mm, we have to standardize them, right? And there is a separate code for standardization that you have to introduce before doing cluster analysis in order to standardize the metric, and then the process will be the same, right? So yeah, that's all for the video. Thanks a lot for watching. If you have been watching till the end, thanks a lot, and consider subscribing my YouTube channel because I upload a lot of different stuff, insightful videos and things. So yeah, thanks a lot.